Hey guys, it's Caleb Williams here. This is the BetterWealth channel. This is going to be a very unique video, so I apologize for anyone that's new to this channel. This channel exists to help you live more intentionally, and I want to do so by bringing on different experts, talking about different financial strategies, and I ultimately want this platform to be where people can agree to disagree, and for us to increase financial IQ and inspire people to live more intentionally and ultimately live their one life as best as they can. On today's video, though, I'm going to be responding to an 8-page letter that I essentially got via email saying that I defamed Curtis Ray, his MPI strategy, and his company in an interview that I did with Rocky DeFrancisco. And I'm going to be responding to that. And I really have three options. I really have three options that I can do. And after I go through this entire document, because I just want to be as transparent as possible, I'll go through the three options that I have and tell you the option that I've decided that I'm going to go with. So let me give you a little bit of context, because again, you might be like, wow, like what happened? I want to like what's going on? Why is someone like sending you a letter saying that you defamed their name? So number one, I do a lot of videos. Probably two and a half years ago, I started. There was like an epiphany that I had to say like, hey, maybe this channel should not just be me talking all the time. Maybe I should bring on other experts. And a lot of experts are people in our own space. And, I don't agree with everyone. For those of you that have seen me interview people, you know that I'll push back on people that I like agree 95% of the time, but like 5% I don't agree with and will push back, not because I'm trying to like defame their name, but because it's like, I want this channel to be as authentic as possible. And we don't grow when we're in our little, bubbles. We grow when we're able to have conversations and challenge each other. And so hopefully you've seen me grow in that. And I'll be the first to say I have a lot to grow in. I think the biggest criticism that I get is that I'm way too soft in conversations and interviews. And that's something that I'm growing. And thanks to our growing community, thanks to the people that subscribe and comment, I take your comments seriously. And as we're growing, I realize that I have an obligation to you, the people that spend your time watching these videos, to do my very best job. So all that to say, there's a lot of people that asked me about this Curtis Ray. Curtis Ray blew up on TikTok. At the time, he had over 1 million subscribers on TikTok, which is truly amazing, and came out with documentaries, had books, was like a very prominent person when it comes to the insurance space, and even when it came to a financial influencer on TikTok. And I'm going to be very careful what I say in this video, as you'll see why. So anyways, I was asked to comment on that. I talked to Rocky DeFrancisco, who has his opinions. You'll see not all of his opinions were appreciated. And then I ultimately interviewed Curtis himself, shot and recorded the entire interview, and was going to release it to the world, Rocky and Curtis, to kind of be like, hey, this is one side, and then this is Curtis himself. That's that side, and here's the platform. So I'm not just having one video or the other. I'm giving like, I can't think of a better person to represent Curtis than Curtis himself, and then someone who's has a ton of experience, has a newsletter over 50,000 people when it comes to the financial service space, like, is a big deal. It's not just a nobody. It's someone that's like well respected as an attorney, and at the end of the day, had some strong opinions about strategies and what Curtis is doing. And so the reason I didn't publish it 2 years ago is I was just like, you know what? I don't want this channel. Like, I was a little bit afraid of like any controversy, and I was just like, you know what? I'm going to let this thing rock, kind of deal. Like, I'm just not going to post it. And then I had an interview with a guy by the name of Dan Thompson, who I don't agree with 100%, as you will see if you watch that interview. And he wrote the foreword in one of Curtis's books. And in that interview, I talk about my opinion about Curtis in that interview. And so I was thinking to myself, okay, should I air this conversation with Dan. I don't endorse everything that he says, but I'm like, you know what? Our audience is a lot smarter than I might think. I hate when people assume that I'm dumb or like, hey, we need to censor you because you wouldn't know what to do with this information. I just think that's like probably the number one issue that I vote around is like freedom of speech. And I was like, you know what? It would be very hypocritical for me to be like, I want to be freedom of speech, but then like censor speech like crazy over here. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to post the Dan Thompson interview, and it performed amazing. We got great feedback. And Dan himself shot me an encouraging text being like, hey, video performed well. Let's do part two. Whether we do part two or not, like, that's awesome. Like, that's great. But since I mentioned Curtis's name and there kept on being people that would ask me about Curtis, I was like, you know what? I think the time is right to just release both pieces of content that I've been sitting on. And I posted it. And believe it or not, both videos did very poorly when it comes to YouTube. YouTube has a system where it tells you like when you release a video, it tells you how it did compared to the last 10 videos that you did. And so obviously, you know, as a creator, you want to release videos and you want your videos to perform like 1 or 2 or 3 out of 10, meaning like out of the last 10, this is like the third best one or the second best one or the best one. And that's something that's like really awesome. And then if it's like a 7, 8, 9, or 10 out of 10, it's like this one was not like it was worse than average or just it didn't resonate with your audience. And both Curtis's videos as of right now are 9 out of 10s, which just tells you that it's like, hey, videos are out, life goes on, but this channel is not here to try to expose anybody or be like a CoffeeZilla of the financial world. There might be other people out there that want to do that. I do not want to do that because I don't want to spend all this time trying to like expose people and doing a ton of research. For those of you that know me, I love having conversations and I want this channel to be going out and getting incredible conversations. The top being Dave Ramsey. It would be awesome to interview Dave Ramsey. I don't agree with him on 100% of things, but it would be incredible to sit down and challenge him on some things and really be able to flesh some things out that maybe he's said in sound bites, but to flesh that out. So just to be clear, like that was the intention. And there was something that came out recently about Curtis that I'll share at the end of this video. And I had a choice to make a video or like jump on it early. I was like, you know what? I'm not even going to make a video about it because again, this channel is not here to beat up on anybody. And I sincerely mean that. And so wasn't going to say anything or do anything about what the information I was given. And then I get a letter via email from Curtis's Ray's legal team. We're actually going to go through this. I will have a link down below for any of you that want to check out the letter itself. I think I'll like maybe like blur out addresses and stuff, but overall, I want as many people to see this. One of the things that when I was reflecting on like what I should do here, I was like, you know what, Caleb, the thing that I care a ton about when it comes to America is freedom of speech. And I really believe the secret of our success and growth has been authenticity. How can you be authentic if you're hiding things from your viewers, the people that are ultimately helping you have this platform to begin with? If none of you guys watch your videos, I wouldn't be getting letters like this, but more importantly, the information, the interviews that we have wouldn't be seen and wouldn't be having a ripple effect or having an impact. And so as I was reflecting on like, okay, what should I do? I could get a letter like this, and because of the legal system, it's expensive to fight anything, just to be clear. And I'll share with what I'm going to do at the very end, but it's just like, so the initial reaction, quite frankly, if I'm being honest, was, hey, this video performed poorly and let's just take it down and not rock the boat. We got a lot of good momentum going, and let's just continue to go. And I don't want to, spend a ton of money trying to fight something that it's like, that's not even a part of my brand, is exposing people. It's not like the fact that you even thought I'm here to try to expose people, like that's crazy. And so it's like, okay. But then the more I've been thinking about it, I was like, I could just leave it up. And what you'll see in their letter is like, would they actually come after me? They might. You can determine for yourself if you think that the statements that I and my guest made were defamatory, and here, like, you can make that. Not sure how that whole process goes, but the attorneys and people that I've been talking to say it's a pretty crazy process for both parties. And we're still having our legal team look and going to give me like an official, this is what you should do kind of deal. But at the time of this recording, I'm not 100% sure if I'm going to keep it up or if I'm going to remove the video. But what I'm really clear on is that I'm going to make this video talking about sharing with you the process. I'm really clear on that because you guys have the right to know this, and ultimately, there's power in having a community and being able to actually share what's going on. Some people use blogs and writing. My way of communicating is via video, and so that's what I'm going to do. And unless our legal team is like, absolutely not, I'm going to share with you this letter that I got in the description down below so that you can follow along. And yeah, that's what we're gonna do. So without further ado, I'm just gonna dive in. For those of you that don't know this, I am not a great reader, so buckle up. You might want to maybe turn up the speed and maybe watch this thing at 2x. But I'm gonna read what I think is necessary, and I'm gonna do my very best to stay in the lines because what I don't want to do is create the legal ease of like, well, you said in this video your opinion. Like, I'm going to try to be as very black and white as possible, but I'm telling you the reason I'm going to be black and white as possible is I'm dealing with somebody that, I will say this, don't sue me, allegedly has a lot more money than me, and allegedly would rather have a legal letter speak for them versus having them speak for themselves. Okay? It's just my opinion. It's not a fact. I will say, and I say this as sincere as possible, and you should know this about me, is Curtis, if you're watching, you are welcome to come on the show at any time. At any time, you're welcome to share your points. And I would love that. Absolutely love that. And I hope you knew that you were open before, because I've said that in other videos that you are free to come on. And so I haven't heard from you. This is the first I've indirectly heard from people representing you. So without further ado, we're going to jump in. The first page pretty much addresses me, a couple companies that I represent. And it says, our offices represent Curtis Ray and his business entities. They go on to say the entities, and they say the purpose of this correspondence is to demand that you immediately remove from your respective websites and the video and audio reference to the video that I posted on the BetterWealth podcast and your YouTube channel titled Exposing Curtis Ray, Attorney Reveals the Dangers of MPI. And then they say, if you fail to refuse to do so, then Curtis Ray, Suncor, and MPIU will file a lawsuit against you and BetterWealth and all other applicable business entities and individuals for the harm caused by the defamatory comments made by you, the BetterWealth, and its agents against Curtis Ray and his BetterWealth entities. It's very interesting that they say you, BetterWealth, and its agents, because you'll see that only one thing that they say in this letter is something I actually said. So it's just interesting. Then they give a background of who Curtis is, MPI. I do love. I want to point this out because it's like, hey, we're coming somewhere. They say this is what I love. They say through your YouTube channel, you regularly produce and post videos on your channel to show viewers a better way to think about money to live a more intentional life. I was like, that's awesome that they put that in this letter. Like, I'm glad that they did their research. They ultimately said that your YouTube channel has nearly 35,000 subscribers. We're over 35,000 subscribers. So at the time of the writing, we've grown. And I just want to thank all of you that have subscribed. You literally, number one, because you subscribe and watch our videos is probably why I got a letter like this. But ultimately, the reason I'm making this video and encouraged to continue to go on is because of you. So I just want to thank you and ask you to subscribe if you haven't subscribed already. Okay, so then we get into the meat, defamatory comments. Not going to comment on defamatory. So I'm not going to comment on that, like what that means and, the intent. But On about July 25th, 2024, you release a video approximately 28 minutes in length with a guest, Rocky DeFrancisco, wherein you repeat disparage Ray by name and his MPI strategy/business. This video was published under the title Exposing Curtis Ray, Attorney Reveals the Dangers of MPI. It is unclear why you would just now be releasing a video. I shared in the intro of that video why, not just in this video, in that video, why, but, and that you recorded 2 years ago, especially when so much information you shared on the video is inaccurate, outdated based on the current market conditions. The timing of the release suggests potential nefarious motives. Regardless, in the video, the two of you made the following statements using timestamps marked from the BetterWealth video. That's all I'll say about that comment. All right, so the first timestamp that they use, and you'll see if you're following along, is 4 minutes, 34 seconds to 6 minutes. And this is where I am setting the stage. And this is what they said. You discuss, it's not like you just discuss the MPI product and further indicate Ray describes his product as the only thing. Okay, they say these statements are false and misleading. The MPI is a strategy. It's not a product and it's never described as a product. Moreover, it is never described as the only thing. In fact, MPIU and its teams repeatedly explain to its clients that MPI strategy is part of a multi-strategy approach to his finances. Okay, want to be very clear about me setting the stage. And depending if the video is up or not, you can see what I said in this. As I set the stage, as I often do, I'm setting the stage and saying like this. I'll use this example. I have a lot of friends that talk about whole life insurance, talk about strategies like infinite banking. And I probably 100 times have said, don't overpitch a concept like infinite banking or whole life to make it be better than it really is. I make jokes like, this thing is not going to save your marriage. Like some people overhype things. And I very much like the more older I get, you can say, I just don't love the whole hype fest in my own life, in my friend's life. And so I was setting the stage. It's like, we're talking about somebody that has gone crazy viral on TikTok and videos and all these things on this concept of MPI. And so the concept was just setting the stage to be like, hey, this thing, like this could be an overhyped product or strategy. I'm not necessarily calling any one person out. I'm just setting the stage for, if we're going to say that this is going to be the end all be all, let's set the stage. Again, this was not, I don't know what else to say other than I was setting the stage, and I do this all the time, and it has nothing to do with trying to defame somebody's name. All that to say, that's the only thing that I said in here that they're pointing to me. Everything else was the guest Rocky. So I just read to you what they said, and we'll move on. Timestamp 8:30. Rocky says, I can't believe the Department of Insurance has not shut him down. And then they say under this, these statements are derogatory, misleading, and are designed to scare MPI prospects and clients away from the business. The statements are clearly designed to imply that Ray/Suncor are doing something illegal and that should be shut down by state agency. This has not happened, and the statement is false and designed to harm reputations of Ray and Suncor. Now we're going to go to timestamp 9:36. Why do we want the death benefit to go higher? Because as an agent, I want the commission. So the more premium I put in, the more commission I make. Very greedy concept from a life insurance agent's point of view, which is why agents like it. Okay, I'll share what they write and then I'll give context. This statement is misleading and derogatory. The statement is clearly designed to make the viewer believe that the only reason Ray and Suncor use this strategy is to procure or potentially higher commission payouts. That is false. Policies are designed as max funded to suppress the death benefit and commission and is only increased to maximum the contribution limits and growth potential over time while maintaining max funded status. Okay, just to be clear, I'm not speaking for Rocky, but I went back and watched what he was saying, and he was literally talking about hyperfunding, the concept of hyperfunding, and wasn't, even in the statement, wasn't saying anything about Curtis or Suncor or anything. So that's just a point. He even says in timestamp 1140 that to their credit, they do things to MEC minimum. That was a statement that Curtis said in there. And so I'll just continue to move on. At timestamp 1035, anytime somebody in the life insurance or annuity industry has you sign a non-disclosure on something, if your radar doesn't go straight up and the hair on the back of your neck doesn't stick up, then something is wrong with you. And then it goes on to, they say this statement is misleading and designed to scare customers away from Ray and MPI. Again, statement had nothing to do with MPI or Curtis Ray. If you watch the video, Rocky is talking through hyperfunding, and Rocky has a newsletter of over 50,000 agents. He gets all kinds of people emailing him stuff. And so whether he's referencing Curtis's team with an NDA or not, he's continuing to talk about just like, oh, by the way, if people in the financial world, like if we at BetterWealth were like, hey, we're going to talk about this tax strategy, but we need for you to sign this NDA. That doesn't make it illegal. That's not illegal at all. But is that a red flag? Yes. And if Rocky wants to go into more details of why that's a red flag, he can. But that's just like my 2 cents around that. Again, in that statement, I don't see where they're saying anything about Curtis or MPI when it comes to NDA. Okay. Down in timestamp 13 minutes and 16 seconds. Maybe there will be another one, and then they've inserted life insurance company. Maybe another one would be so stupid to go along with it. And then they insert MPI strategy. Okay. And they said that this statement is clearly defamatory, implying that any insurance company willing to agree to execute the MPI strategy is stupid because the strategy is too risky / improper. Mutual of Omaha is an A+ rated company. It's interesting to me. When I interviewed Curtis, he said that he represents multiple insurance companies. In this letter, they only mention Mutual of Omaha, which is interesting to me. Mutual of Omaha is an A+ rated company. It's currently number 1 in the industry, according to Investopedia, and has consistently been among the top rated companies for many years running. By the way, I don't think we mentioned in this video what company Curtis works for or represents or what they do. So I just want to be clear about that. But there you go. And then at 14 minutes, 32 seconds, your video states that MPI engages in a lack of disclosure to consumer. The statement is false. MPI Unlimited provides all required disclosures to consumer and provides a substantial amount of reference material to consumer. It also encourages its consumers to conduct their own additional personal investigation. It also encourages its consumers to conduct their own additional personal investigation. Okay. Timestamp 1546. The problem with the disclaimer is that it's in parentheses. The calculator disclaimer is wrong. It's underselling the risk. It's got 6.4 in there. I heard today that the company lowered the cap from 6.4 to 6.2, so it's inaccurate. Then they say this statement is grossly misrepresenting the reality. At the time of this recording, they say this a couple times at the time of this recording. At the time of this recording, the cap rate was 10%. Your guest is referring to the illustrated rate, but he uses the term cap rate, which is completely different and blatantly misleading. Blatantly misleading. Okay. MPI Unlimited adjusted their marketing and calculator according to the carrier's current accepted illustrated rates. Okay. And then under that, in addition, the calculator reference is not currently showed on the MPI website. I wonder why. And maybe that's a reason for you to stay till the end for me to share potentially why. Or anywhere else. It's interesting because, yeah, never mind. I'm not going to say it. Stay in your lane, Caleb. The complete information is outdated and misleading to the public because your video was from years ago. That's correct. Their calculator is no longer on MPI website, and there may be a reason why that's the case. All right, so timestamp 16 minutes. The policy he is using, the maximum interest rate is 6%. So if you illustrate out 40 years at 4% rate is ludicrous and is certainly not compliant. and should be shut down. I think what he's talking about is the illustration from a 6%, 4% arbitrage. And then they say under this statement is inaccurate. At the time of this recording, the loan interest rate was 4% as stated in this disclaimer. I always love how they say at the time of this recording. I wonder what the loan interest rate is now. The calculations were and continue to be updated to reflect current illustrated rates, and the disclaimer also reflects these rate changes. Moreover, your guest statement that he cannot believe Ray/MPI has not been shut down is clearly derogatory and intended to injure Ray and MPI's/Suncor's business reputation. The statement is intended to impugn, I'm not sure what that word is, the character/integrity of Ray. Here's what I'll say. I won't comment to that. I'll make a general comment. When I'm talking to people, different types of people, and we'll just take whole life, for example. When we talk about illustrations and not using illustrations and assuming illustrations are going to be accurate 40 years from now, that's not me defaming the insurance company or the person that might be having the illustration. Like, it's literally just stating like an opinion that will be accurate. And this is no shot. By the way, illustrations could be better than what illustrated. The idea of using an illustration and banking on 40 years, especially when you're using arbitrage in general, I'm not talking about Curtis. Of course, I'm not talking about Curtis or MPI. I'm talking about like something that I might do, would be irresponsible. And so I can say that and not be like, I'm trying to defame an insurance company or someone's name. It's just literally speaking like probably not a good practice. And I can speak to myself in that. Okay. Timestamp 17 minutes, 31 seconds to 18. What's realistic crediting rate? Question mark. What's going to happen when rates go back up? We're going to have a massive loan on this policy and we can't repay. And we have a crediting rate that can be as low as 5.25 and a lending rate of 6. Now I'm going to have a 75 basis point negative loan arbitrage every single year. When is the policy going to implode? Question mark. And then it just says these statements are misleading to viewers. The average crediting rate is determined by the average crediting of all 25-year period for the past 65 years. That is a realistic average. However, the actual performance of the strategy since inception is actually higher than illustrated rate. Moreover, even though your guest stated it is not realistic to use an average growth rate to project out potential growth, he then projected a worst case scenario every year to imply that the policy will implode. In addition, the assumed crediting rate your guest uses substantially lower than both the actual 25-year performance. So I don't know because this is where they say like, this is clearly defamatory. Oh, it says these statements are misleading to the viewers. Okay. And then at 18 minutes and 47 seconds, the fact that he's using the company he uses and the piece of garbage product that he's using is more problematic. If he was actually using a good product with a good company, which would never let him do this, the potential outcome would be better because he would have a fixed lending rate of 5 and an expected rate of return of 5.5. He's got a product with a maximum lending rate of 6, I believe, and really an expected rate of return closer to 5. And then that was the statement. And then below is the attorney's response. The statements are derogatory, inaccurate, and intended to defame Ray and his business. Your guest never states which insurance company or companies Ray/Suncor utilize for implementing the MPI strategy, which is true, with one being Mutual of Omaha, which is an A+ rated insurance company, and is currently rated number 1 in the industry for Investopedia for consecutive years for the exact type of insurance offered, and has consistently been among the top insurance companies for many years. Your guest is clearly trying to imply that MPI strategy is not implemented by a reputable insurance company, which is utterly false. In addition, as previously stated, the numbers your guest provides do not accurately reflect historic averages or current crediting rates. There you go, guys. And by all means, I'm looking forward to hearing thoughts in the comments. Again, I'm going to be very careful what I comment. And so just going to be very clear about that for this video. Then it goes on to state like law and then their analysis, which is just a summary of all all the things. All right, so then we're going to get to the demand, which is we're nearing the end. And the demand is pretty much saying, we look forward to seeing that the video addressed herein has been removed. If we do not hear from you by the close of business on Friday, September the 27th, indicating that the video has been removed, then we will be forced to take legal action against you and your BetterWealth business entities, which will include claims of defamation, false light, and all other claims available under the applicable law. As noted herein, because the statements made tended to injure Ray, Suncor, and MPI profession, trade, and business, the statements constitute defamation per se, which give rise to not only special damages, but also general and non-purgatory damages as well. Moreover, Ray and the Suncor will be entitled to presumption of damages. Okay. And then in addition, as you are certainly aware, you have compliance obligations with the various insurance companies you work with. Those compliance obligations typically prohibit you from, for example, making encouraging or allowing disparaging remarks or providing false information about other products and insurers. And the prohibition applies to verbal remarks. Such activities are considered unfair trade practice and are generally prohibited by law. Ray/MPI/Suncor are looking into notifying those insurance companies because the content in the video may violate your compliance obligation. And then signed by yours truly, the attorney. They say, I look forward to hearing back from you. So here's my thoughts. Obviously, this has been a long enough video, and I'm sure there'll be lots of different feedback. And I genuinely look forward to reading your feedback, although I'm going to be very careful what I say in the comments for obvious reasons. First observation is only one statement I made, and that was very much setting the stage about, and I do this almost on every interview. So I promise you, I'm not trying to defame every single person that I interview, but try to set the stage and try not to overemphasize anything. I'm a big fan of insurance. I think it's problematic if you try to overemphasize it to be like the end all be all. I'm not talking about Curtis Ray or MPI strategy. I'm talking about myself. And so just to be clear, like that's like when we set the stage, it's like, hey, let's just set the stage here. And so that's the thing that's the thing that I said. Not sure on the scale of 1 to 10 how false or misleading those are, but that's my best to try to set the stage. And everything else is what Rocky said, and you can read for yourself. And if the video is still up, you can watch along. So I there's really 3 options that I can do. Option number 1 is take down the video. That probably would have been the easiest option from just a legal standpoint. Just take it down. Option number 2 is do nothing and just keep it up. Option number 3 is, well, there's more options, but the option number 3 is the option that I'm going with. Option number 3 is to make a video like this, documenting the journey to be as authentic as possible, and take the video down, which I, at this point, intend to do. We have our legal team looking at it. And the reason, and I can already tell by people are like, hey, Caleb, fight this, fight. The reason is I want to make this channel and make content to inspire people to live more intentionally. And I want to continue to build momentum. And I don't want to spend a ton of time and money on something that's not even my best work. Like, I think it's fair to say that video that I look like I'm 15 years old is probably not like the best video of all time. I'm just being really clear that the intention at this point is to take that video down, not because I believe that I did anything wrong, but it's because allegedly, in my opinion, this is not a fact, Curtis Ray has a lot more money than me. And I don't want to spend a ton of money trying to fight something that is not core to what we do at our business and what's not core to this channel. That's where I'm at. But there's an and the and to this is I'm going to have Rocky DeFrancisco back on, and we are going to shoot a video, and we are going to be extremely black and white on not going to speculate on anything. We are literally going to share facts and the news of what's happening. Rocky has 2 documents from the Washington Insurance Commissioner that we will go through, and we won't speculate on anything. These are documents that are made available to you. And Rocky DeFrancisco literally published in his email the links to it. And I intend, when we have that video that I do with Rocky, to be able to share exactly what I did with this letter, so for you to see. And then I intend to be done with Curtis unless Curtis wants to come back on and have a conversation. I'm not this channel where we got bigger and better things to focus on any one person. But that's the route that we're going to trend in. And I say that because at the time of this recording, our legal team is still looking in and advising me on what I'm doing. But my gut is saying, do a new video with Rocky. Do not speculate. Just talk about pure fact, and take the old video down from the one that they did this, but shoot this video telling you exactly why the video is taken down. And you can believe whatever you want to believe, because it's America and we have a freedom to believe and freedom of speech. And it's an amazing thing. And that doesn't always, it's not always convenient, but it's something that makes this country so amazing. So that's all I want to say about this. I want to thank every single person from the bottom of my heart who has watched to the end. Thank you. I'm growing a ton. I even want to thank, I'm grateful for letters like this. I'm genuinely grateful for Curtis Ray himself. And I don't say that sarcastically. This grows people. And I do believe that there are going to be a future where this will not be the last letter. And I'm so grateful for just this journey of learning and sharpening the saw. And there's a lot that I'm learning in this process. But as we continue to grow this platform, we're going to get more attention. And with more attention comes pros and cons. And you could say that this is a con that comes with an amazing growing community. But I will take this all day long for the thought of being able to help people live more intentionally and grow. And so with that, I appreciate all of you that comment, reach out, and I look forward to hearing from so many of you. God bless and take care.